Tonight, less than a month before the Iowa caucuses, the race for the Republican nomination heating up. Former President Trump speaking in Nevada and New Hampshire over the weekend. The Republican frontrunner making controversial comments about undocumented immigrants.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done.
Critics pointing out that the term blood poisoning was used by Adolf Hitler in Mein Kampf. Trump also calling North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un very nice, and quoting Russian President Vladimir Putin, using Putin's words to defend himself against the criminal trials awaiting him.
Vladimir Putin. Has anybody ever heard of Vladimir Putin? Of Russia, says that Biden's, and this is a quote, politically motivated persecution of his political rival is very good for Russia because it shows the rottenness of the American political system.
The Biden campaign responding in a statement, accusing Trump of channeling, quote, his role models as he parroted Adolf Hitler, praised Kim Jong-un, and quoted Vladimir Putin while running for president. Only one Republican rival has reacted to the remarks, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
He's disgusting. And what he's doing is dog whistling to Americans.
A new poll out of New Hampshire shows Trump's former ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, surging. It has her solidly in second at 29%, 18 points ahead of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who she's now attacking.
I have seen all of the commercials that you're seeing. And if you punch me, I punch back. Ron DeSantis has lied in every one of his commercials. They've been fact-checked. Anyone from CNN to Newsmax has all said that these are wrong. If he's going to lie about me, I'm going to tell the truth about him.
DeSantis attacking Haley's electability.
Just the basic, undeniable truth about where we are in terms of this party, that the only person running that can get significant support from core Republicans and conservative voters is me. Haley does not, she cannot pierce into that.
Now, as Haley and DeSantis duke it out for that number 2 spot, the former president is returning to Iowa tomorrow for his final campaign event before Christmas. The campaign then has planned a 2-week blitz across the state ahead of the caucus on January 15th. Just this afternoon, the campaign in a fundraising email declaring that with a big enough win on January 15th, Trump would be the outright presumptive nominee immediately. Ellison?
Vaughn Hillyard, thank you. For more on former President Trump's remarks and the state of the Republican primary, let's bring in Rena Shaw. She is a political strategist and former senior congressional aide to 2 Republican members of the House. Rena, let's just start with the big headline here. I mean, former President Donald Trump, he is the front runner right now. No doubt about that when you look at the polls. In Vaughn's report, he laid out those comments Trump made about blood poisoning. It is language Adolf Hitler used in his book, Mein Kampf, that would really be disqualifying for most political candidates. But Donald Trump is not most political candidates. We have seen that time and time again. His base is so dug in and so supportive of him. It almost seems like anytime something controversial comes up, he really does get a pass with his base. Do you think that's going to be the case this time? Is there any chance that the ongoing war in Israel and the Republican Party's staunch support for Israel in that context might mean he could actually see political consequences for using that particular phrase?
Right now, as we speak, Donald Trump continues to get praise from the far-right wing of the Republican Party because for them, he's reset the rules of politicking, and they're not going to go back. Once you've come to a place where Donald Trump has taken our politics, and he didn't do it alone, I must add, but he has made it almost normal to reach for not really essentially what would be considered the underbelly of American thinking. It's the worst of what's out there globally. It's almost as if he doesn't care to be a student of history. And for people like me in particular, who are the kids of immigrants, I am so beyond shocked that these comments don't seem to drill down into our electorate, to people who have been disengaged, who are apathetic about our politics. And it doesn't wake them up to hear somebody talk like this, because what this is essentially is so racist and it's so outlandish that it should drive us to be fearful of where our country is going, but also how very rich of the former president. Because if you look back, look at the Trump Organization, how many immigrants has it employed over the years? He has no sense of respect for his fellow man, and he's showing everybody, not just fellow Republicans, that he doesn't deserve the nomination this time. Yet he continues to get the support of the Republican Party because he's supposedly speaking about their fears of a changing America.
I do want to take a look at that New Hampshire poll we mentioned one more time. In this poll, Nikki Haley does seem to be slowly gaining a fair amount of ground in the state of New Hampshire. You see her there at 29%. What do you make of that momentum? Do you think it is temporary, unique to New Hampshire, or could we be seeing a turn for Nikki Haley?
Well, I've spent some time in New Hampshire, and I find the voters to be quite moderate. And this was, of course, prior to Trump's rise and Trump getting the GOP nomination back in 2016. But I will say, you know, when you're looking at the Granite State, nowhere is a monolith anymore. Everyone's got complexities. But as you see Trump out there continuing to give regular praise to dictators, he's almost looking to many Republicans as if he wants to be one, and he's essentially told us that this past week. So Nikki Haley's strategy of continuing to call him out on not just his failures when he was in the White House, she used that line of him adding to our national debt. She's gone beyond that. She said it's dangerous to have somebody with his kind of views. She hasn't been very explicit, but if you read between the lines, she is getting more so by the day. And I think that's New Hampshire is a place where they appreciate that. So I'm not surprised. And I think this signals a trend. I think Nikki Haley is not just coming off as the adult in the room. She will continue to show that she is the best poised to win a general election, no matter what Democrat she's up against.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.